Today I'm going to walk you through a new project that I just started. It is still very early, very little code, so this will be not a tutorial. I will just guide you through my decision-making process, which technologies I use, where I did use AI or will use AI, and where I definitely will not use it. Without further ado, let us start. This is our app for now. Very little code has been written here. We have just a basic sidebar, basic top navigation, which doesn't even work. It's just for styling right now. The only thing that works is the side navigation. This is a very simple start of a project. As for the technologies used, this will be a monorepo with the backend here, which is not even installed. This will be Laravel backend, and the frontend will be written purely in Vue, this time without inertia. What I will be doing differently this time, because normally I don't do it, normally I'm not so strict with types, but I saw in my last few projects, especially with using LLMs here and there and trying to let them generate some boilerplate code for me, I noticed that if you don't have strictly defined types, you will get worse results. That's why this times we are going to use strict true and try not to use any or do not ignore type errors and this kind of stuff. The AI forced me basically to write better code. So Vue and Laravel, not inertia. For this project, it actually doesn't fit as good because this will be very front-end heavy projects. I will be building it as a single page application. Inertia is better suited to CRUD applications in my opinion. So if you have a CRUD application, but you want to have it more of a faster feel to it, and a normal backend driven application, then you use inertia because it feels like a little bit more fluid, a little bit more like an SPA, but it is not an SPA actually. It works a little bit different, and I don't want to fight the framework all the time. This application will be very front-end heavy. We will use Pinia for state management, and we also will use Vue Router for routing. Not like I dislike inertia or something. Inertia is great, but I don't think this is the right tool for the job right now. I will be using TipTap for this one, because I built myself a small prototype just to test if everything will work out the way I actually want it to work. This is a part of the app. This is an Amazon copy helper. You have some keywords on the left side and some indication how many keywords will be used. I don't know if this is the final design or not. This is just a proof of concept kind of thing. Here are also some drag and drops. The prototype, which is 100% vibe coded, and I will not be using any code from this because I don't understand anything what's going on. Well, I don't trust vibe coded apps. What it actually can do is like coloring. For example, if you put in easy cleaning, you see this changes the color. If you remove a letter, then it changes the color back to gray. So you see right away where the keywords are used. This is the second part of the app that I want to build. Looks still, this will not be the same. This will be image generator. And this is also one of the reasons I didn't use inertia and will use Pinia and Vue for the frontend, because this is very front-end heavy. Things are changing if you have, for example, here some bullet points that you are adding there, and you choose some images, then you can use the bullet points in the image generation and this kind of stuff. So this is a lot of state management, very front-end heavy. So the architecture was actually driven by complexity of the front end. Why not React or Angular, you might ask? Yeah, just because I know Vue better. I don't say that React is bad or anything like that. Go-to framework for front ends. I'm mostly used to it, that's why I'm using it, and it's fun to write. I don't see any reason not to use it. As for the LLM, I have been using the AIs very, very deeply in creating this actual spec and the actual README files. So basically the context to further work also with LLMs. I didn't do it actually for the LLM itself. I did it for myself. I noticed every time I do it and I discuss the project with the LLM, it's basically rubber ducking. You know, you explain the problems that you want to solve to a rubber duck, and while you explain it to the rubber duck, you actually come up yourself with the solution. And this is how I actually use the AI here. This is the only file that we had generated. This is just overview, what architecture we are going to use, the tech stack. This is the base structure, some rules. Tests I will add after I'm sure how the front and back end will work together. And if you write tests too early, then you have to rewrite them quite often. That's why I'm rather reluctant to write tests early. But this is only valid if you don't work in a team. If you work in a team, man, write your tests, otherwise nobody will know what you are actually trying to do. What I am going to use AI for is only the stuff that I can explain very, very clearly. And I don't mean only the problem. Understanding the problem is one thing, but also understanding the solution and the step-by-step. I give an example because I've been using Inertia for a pretty long time. Almost all my projects last year were Inertia and Vue and Laravel. I simply forgot how the Vue router was working. What I could have done is just to let the AI write it and see what it has written, but then I wouldn't have learned shit. What I've actually done, I've tried to do it myself, to write the router completely out. What I didn't understand and what I completely forgot is how this component thing works. This component thing basically wraps the app layout component around its children. Routing in an Inertia app works completely different than that. So the most important thing is, if I don't understand something, I will write it myself and go the painful way of manually writing it completely out so that I actually understand the full solution from step one to the last step. This is the approach that I am currently using for my new project. This will probably change in the future because we never know where the AI is leading us, what Opus 5.0 will be able to do. I will document my way, build in public, and show you my mistakes I've made and the progress I'm doing with my apps, which direction I do and what I think about tools and building stuff in the age of AI. I will be also trying to incorporate AI every step of the way, but not let it ruin my learning process. I have still a lot to learn, and I still want to learn. I have still fun coding. I have still fun figuring stuff out manually. And this is a huge difference than letting the AI write everything for you. That's it, folks. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.